What is up, ladies and gentlemen, Frank here, the Red Tide guy. So the first ever gameplay of Desolation of Mordor has been revealed in the stream, and you can watch 30 minutes of gameplay. I will have a follow-up video where I will talk about all of the detail revealed in the stream, but this video is purely the gameplay that was revealed during that stream. So until next time, my name is Frank, I'm the Red Tide guy, and frankly, thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.
Insane to ask. Why is Baranor here?
Probably have to go back a little bit. I'm not sure if everyone played through all of the Gondor missions, but just to catch people up, Baranor, like after the fall of Minas Ithil, Baranor and Idril sort of set off with Talion on a sort of guerrilla campaign, basically saving captured Gondorian soldiers. And it was kind of a doomed task. They had a bit of a conflict. I think Talion was encouraging them to just leave. Humans cannot survive in Mordor. You have to be a superhuman like Talion. And eventually, Baranor decides to stay and be doomed with Idril. And so that's where the story ends for that. And in the kind of intervening time before then and the start of this story expansion, the numbers have started to dwindle more, and the scouts have reported, sent reports of this fortress in Lithlad, which is the desert region in Mordor, and this mercenary company that is nearby. And so Idril decides to take the remaining Gondorian soldiers to the sanctuary at Heneth Anun, and Baranor and a small team of Gondorians head out to Lithlad to investigate and see if they can make this happen.
So we're currently in Lithlad, this desert region.
Yes.
And in the one area that is the Oasis, hence the beautiful waters.
Yeah, it's pretty.
This is much more lush than most of the desert, I would say.
This is, just not give an accurate picture of the rest of Lithlad.
They picked a pretty nice spot.
Yeah, it's the
Right. So
Eastern Desolation.
The desolation of what exactly? I'm just trying to remember. So Baranor is out here because he is trying to stage a secondary front, basically.
Yes, he's opening up a new front in the War for Mordor. In the desert region. And
so, but why is he coming here specifically to the Oasis?
So the Oasis is where you can see that these are the Vanishing Sons. They have made their home in this sort of like kind of these Numenorian ruins, and they're basically in the employ of the orcs. And but you know they work for the highest bidder, and so I think Baranor thinks that he can bring them on side to potentially conquer the fortress of Shindrim, which is the new fortress.
Okay, so
although if he starts by walking through the drinking water, they might...
He's not making any friends at this point. Yeah.
What do you mean? Is there anything wrong that's happening right now?
He's gonna have very clean boots.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for plants, right?
You may hear a mercenary complain about what he's doing.
So actually, guys, while we're walking around here, I want you to listen closely to the ambient dialogues. That's what all these guys do. I mean, there's a couple favorite ambient dialogues from the orc grunts that were in Shadow of War as well. And these guys all have their own ambient dialogue as well when they're chatting. So listen in, see what they say. There's a couple of my favorites that I've already heard. Yeah, Darkblade King, basically, hey, my water! Something like that. Oh, man. Let's see. So who exactly are the Vanishing Sons when we're discussing this mercenary group? Like, why are they around? What do they do?
So they, I guess they were former professional soldiers within the Easterling military, who basically got mostly massacred, and so the remaining few who survived didn't return to Rune, but actually went AWOL, set off on their own, and created their own mercenary company, which kind of gave birth to their name, the Vanishing Sons. And so they kind of ventured around Mordor and eventually found themselves in Lithlad, where they started working for the orcs, because the orcs had... it's a marauder fortress, so these are the orcs who love gold and grog and don't really like working too much, and so they hire these mercenaries. It's a nice move.
Sorry, I had to do that.
They hire these mercenaries. You're not making any friends. This is your arrival at the mercenary camp.
Prices just went through the roof.
Walked through the water, broke a couple ankles. I wanted to indicate to people that these guys are interactable. You can run into them. They're doing things like they're not just placeholders in the background. They are, I mean, they're kind of like the orc grunts, but now we have humans with new voices and behavior and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so they're working for the orcs. Like the orcs had a bandit problem. Bandits were targeting their convoys, and the orcs didn't want to bother with them, so they've hired this mercenary company, and they basically have them on retainer to deal with the bandit problem.
Right. It's actually one of my. I was reading up on this a little bit, and I think the idea is that these guys started working with the orcs because they had the bandit problem, but then they realized that they could kind of get away with pretending to be the bandits themselves.
Well, that's the problem when you solve the bandit problem and there are no more bandits. The coin stops flowing, and so they have a very inventive leader named Circa who came up with a plan to basically pose as bandits and dramatize their return so that they will have kind of a never-ending work in Lithlad.
One of the first few things that I got connected to with that part of the story as I was walking through here, one of the guys was like, why do you think that they like allow us to get away with this? Like, why aren't they like paying attention? The other guy's like, they just seem to be lazy. Enough grog, enough like
enough grog, enough coin.
It's like, why not? Just throw it at someone else.
It's very hot here.
It is.
You know, fighting is sweaty work.
Actually, on that reference, I want to do a graphical point out that I think is pretty interesting. So if you go from the dark area, walk over here real quick, and then you can start seeing the extra sheen from like the dust or from Baranor's eyes not quite yet becoming adequately, what's the word I'm looking for?
Adjusted?
Adjusted, thank you. Adjusted to the light. Look, writers know all the words you need.
Should have me here all the time.
Oh, totally. But you can like see with the reflection off the ground, it's like it's bloody hot in Lithlad. And I love the fact that when we begin to walk into here, his eyes adjust, everything's back to normal. It's just like, what a nice trick. Very proud. So, let's see. Now, why is Lithlad the place where this is happening? Like, why did what is special about Lithlad? Why are the orcs here originally?
I think it's kind of a far-off outpost. You know, they're sort of not really integral to, you know, the like holding Mordor, and so they weren't really part of the main campaign. But Sauron has his fortress. It's, you know, manned by...
You actually could see just a moment ago as you were walking over there.
There was a glimpse. There it is.
Yeah. That's something right about there.
But it's mostly just having the combination of this Marauder fortress and this mercenary camp. It just seemed like these are two things that we can put together and potentially conquer a fortress. Which, I mean, they've mostly been attacking camps, but so this is kind of a massive escalation in what they can do. But with the reinforcements they can get from the mercenary camp, they think they have a shot. Oh, nice! Peekaboo.
Just for a moment. Yeah, there we go. It's we also have access to photo mode, and so I'm curious, but I'm imagining some of you guys are going to be wanting to know, what is this big statue right here? I'm going to give it a little bit better of a look. But yeah.
Oh, you should speak to...
You want?
Oh, sorry, I missed that. I was looking at comments.
The statues. What are the statues about?
What's up with the statue? We can...
Oh, so these are Numenorian ruins. The Numenorians were in this part of the world a long time ago. They've sort of vanished from the world, but left behind these incredible ruins and also other artifacts and bits of their technology.
Right.
Which, as you explore the desert, you can actually find some of those things and get them into working order with the help of an old friend.
An old friend. Wink, wink.
Yes, by the name of Torvin. And then you can use some of those things to augment your suite of abilities as Baranor.
Indeed.
Because I've seen called out in the stream, yes, Baranor does not have a ring of power, and he does not have an elven wraith joined along with him. He does not have supernatural abilities.
Yeah, he's a regular guy who has to...
Sandstorm.
Pay mercenaries to work with him.
Yeah.
So here's another fun visual thing that happens every once in a while. We are in a desert, and welcome to the sandstorm. It's another particularly fun thing. And also, it really kind of changes a little bit of the gameplay, because now you can't see as well. And now you got to experience dealing with that as a problem. But it's It's pretty. It's another pretty experience.
It is, and it blows over eventually. They always do.
Darude Sandstorm. Oh man, let's see. Oh, here's a question that I thought was fun. So a bunch of people noticed the this guy, and we're curious about what is that behind it, which is the werewolf specifically, one of the new creatures. And I have on here because we were actually going to talk. What is a werewolf exactly?
Well, a wereworm is a very large worm-type creature that makes its home in Lithlad and lives mostly underground. And they occasionally burst forth when they sense something moving above them, and they will pop up to devour it.
And they come in different sizes. It's important to know.
That's true. There are a variety of them. It's often a terrifying experience to have these things pop up out of the ground. But depending on your situation and depending on how you learn to leverage them, they can actually be very useful if you are dealing with a large group of enemies, for example. So they're a mixed bag.
Sorry, werewolves romanceable? That is just the running meme of our game.
If only, yeah.
If only the
we
worms
don't want to
romanceable.
speak to that today.
So I see a couple of people asking about the HUD. The HUD is turned off. I wanted to do that for cinematic stuff, and because also, I think this is a fun teaser way to put it. There are things and indicators on the hub I don't want you to see yet, but you'll see in later streams.
Yes.
Such a showman. Such a showman.
So you got to do it. I mean, it's all about the.
It's just a striptease that will occur over weeks. Gradually, we'll show more.
Oh man, striptease to Darude Sandstorm. So, oh man, Hobbit movie worms.
And
No.
And speaking as we were of Baranor's ability to recover Numenorian artifacts and the fact that he is not, that he is a mortal man, that might be a good segue to, but I think we're speaking to the...
Do you want to ask me real quick? Turn off
the key...
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry. It's to reintroduce. We were discussing because you die and you don't come back.
Right.
Like,
Well, you come back, but you did die.
you did die.
Right.
It's not like
That's what I
Talion,
was-
where you can. The death mechanic is very different. So
Right.
it is a roguelike. Talion has many lives. You can just keep coming back. You can
Yeah.
afford to be sloppy. Baranor is a human with human abilities, no superpowers, and cannot afford to die. So he has to be very. It changes the gameplay, and it definitely found myself approaching it in a different way. And also, just the idea of having like human allies is really different. That was like a really big distinguishing feature from
Right.
the main game, where you're kind of the lone human. In Mordor, you've got Celebrimbor, kind of like questioning everything you do. Occasionally there'll be an elf, but it's pretty much you and the orcs. But with Baranor, he has kind of a human allies, which is fun.
Oh, absolutely. And it's we'll talk more about that intrinsically, because I mentioned last stream that there are mercenaries in the Nemesis system. So we'll get into that one later. Right now, though, I still letting people just go, look, a bow. Or they were saying bow. Well, there's a bow, at least. So I can solve that pun. Is there falling damage, says some people. We'll get into that next stream. This one is to introduce you guys to this, first of all, sick-looking outfit that he's got wearing. He's got his own look, he's got his own feel. We've already hinted a lot at that lovely thing that's on his arm. You've seen it in the cover art.
The amazing multi-tool.
The multi-tool, I like that way. So we're going to start answering some questions here. We're going to be very focused on questions related to story, Baranor, mechanics start coming in the next weeks. So we're going to be holding back on that for now. And, but yeah, if you want me to walk somewhere within the Oasis, I'll be reading for that too. If you're like, go look at that tree, I'll look at some trees. It's already a standing joke that we're going to talk about rocks is the thing. So that works for me. Let's see. When is this set? Oh, timeline. Yeah, what is the timeline for Baranor? I actually don't know the...
I think this like the Blade of Galadriel story expansion occurs within the Shadow Wars. So, I mean, you could imagine. We don't specify specific, like exactly when it is, but you could imagine it about 2 years after the creation of the Flaming Eye.
Okay. Interesting. I'm checking, reading through. Everybody's just like Nemesis System. Nope, that's not today. People asking for combat. No, not this one today. Can we look at the beautiful worms? Not today. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to save that one because I want to show some of their uses in the upcoming live streams. So, gonna be teasy about that for right now. We're going to look at his stoic face for a moment.
It's going into full brood.
The full brood. I like that version. So, this is a question I think is safe to ask. Does Celebrimbor appear in this DLC?
Now, as you remember, if you played till the end of the game, then Celebrimbor, should we say at this point? I think there are.
Oh, you mean like spoilers?
Spoilers.
Yeah, that's it's
Celebrimbor and Sauron have fused at the top of Baranor and become the Flaming Eye. So Celebrimbor is still kind of locked away in that fiery prison. So he will not appear.
There was a question that was where's Idril right now?
Idril is like taking a bunch of the remaining Gondorian soldiers that they rescued to a sanctuary, the sanctuary of Henneth Anun. Mm-hmm. So they're leaving Mordor, and Baranor is kind of set up. He's like the other part of the plan where he goes to Lithlad to conquer the fortress. I think like if they can set up the fortress as this base of operations, maybe that would become the new sanctuary potentially for the Gondorians in Mordor, so they can continue the fight.
Right, and then using the mercenaries to basically purchase an army and be ready to go.
Basically.
Cool. See.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Things don't always go to plan.
Right,
we know that, right?
So all right, so with that, what's up, everybody? So, all right. We've given you guys some of this. It is meant to be a teaser, so you guys can learn a little bit more about the background. Climbing is confirmed. Yes, well done for catching that. Is Talion referenced in the DLC? Interestingly, I think we're gonna leave a little bit some of that hidden, but you will actually hear tidbits from these guys talking about stuff that happened in the main game.
There are light references to Talion, yes, like in the ambient.
And Torvin has a past relationship with Talion.
That's true.
So he might reference him once or twice.
And so I see a lot of people asking, can you visit as Talion? And I'm going to save the answer to that question. I think that's fine. Just letting you know.
That is a good question.
It is. Will there be anything to ride? Soviet Union, no. There's Caragors and Drakes and Graugs. That's not a thing that he's able to do because he can't dominate any of them. No ring.
The worm should be rideable, but it is not. It is not.
Oh, man.
When you see them, you might wonder, do I want to ride that thing or not?
It's just the Dune fantasy just immediately comes to people's minds.
So I see some requests for... I'm going to walk a little bit into... people are asking to walk into the ruins a bit. I'll walk a little bit. There's a bunch more ruin behind that way, but I'm not going to go that way yet. We're going to just show off somewhat of the utilitarian art design that these guys like to maintain. It's like, I don't think they have a lot of interior designers. But they're like, they're
trying to keep it, keep it up. They're just like, gotta keep the sand out.
I know, but this guy's doing a terrible job. Look at all the sand that's right here.
Yeah, he's on sweeping duty. It's just a punishment.
I feel like sweeping duty here is just a joke. Just like, sweep the sand.
Just like one sandstorm later. Do this again.
Shoosh. Let's see. Looking for people telling me to go kill some orcs and stuff like that. We're strolling today. And then later, next week, will be the first start of some actions and that kind of thing. And just taking a moment to look through and seeing, are there Haradrim? Well, Baranor is a Haradrim.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, but the mercenaries are Easterling. Mm-hmm. There are Haradrim among them.
Yeah, they're a bit of a mix, just given their history of raiding around different parts of Middle Earth and taking on young boys orphaned by their raids, who they sometimes take on and raise as one of their own.
Actually, I know people are probably thinking about this. Yeah, this is climbable if you wanted to climb up it, but I'm going to save that for you guys. Actually, I'm saving it for next stream, to be entirely honest. Climb back down. What's the skill tree like? Gotta wait. Soon. All very soon. Not right now. We're just doing stories. Can you just troll into a wereworm? No. So, let's see. Given that Baranor is mortal, is there fall damage? There is a way to solve that problem.
Yes.
One that we will discuss upcoming. Let's see. Basically, any serious question. Here's a fun other bit of teaser. How would I quickly go up? I don't know. How does Talion do it? It's not like that. Perfect.
I mean, a lot of these questions might be answered by
Can you go
very special thing on his arm. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
The gauntlet is you know, it's a
Right. Actually,
one of those ancient Numenorian artifacts that Rich was talking about.
Oh, totally. So here, real quick,
I'm
gonna fling this out just so you guys can see what it looks like out a little bit. Since it's already in the art, I figured that way. Just like pop it out real quick. See the kind
Is
of.
that all the gauntlet does, Jared?
I'm
Does it do
not-
more than that?
I can't say anything.
We're not
right
really
now.
talking about that today.
I'm not talking about it. Look, Baranor's
How much
gonna.
do you expect to pay for this?
I'm gonna have Baranor brood at you right now, physically looking at you. Don't say those things. Yu-Gi-Oh card thingy. It kind of does look like the Yu-Gi-Oh card thingy.
Oh, that's funny.
So anyway, as we are showing off this stuff, I'm thinking that's basically it. The answers and questions for you guys right now. Common style compared to Talion and Tariels. Baranor. You know what? You'll see next week. Actually, next week is where we do some fighting, I believe.
Yeah,
You activate his trap card? Yes.
it's very different.
I did see a question about do the orcs have any new skills, which I probably can't really answer, but it would be interesting to think if the orcs could have new traits in terms of some of their strengths and weaknesses that might be relevant to this area.
Or new skills relevant
Those-
for Baranor.
Yep.
That would also be interesting.
Those
Or
would
if
be
the
interesting to
mercenaries had
consider.
traits, potentially.
Their own-
That would also be interesting.
We actually did answer that one, that new mercenaries get their own traits last week.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Really.
So yeah. We're not immediately jumping
Can
into
talk
that
about
one.
some stuff a little
Yeah.
bit.
So, yeah, I think I covered it. So I'm going to take a moment to make sure that I don't press something that reveals everything. I'm going to switch it back to us, answer a couple more verbal questions. If someone asks a walking question I can show, we'll jump back in it for a second. But other than that, this is meant to be a short stream to give you guys just kind of a fun view of what this experience is. Let's see. Gear system, won't talk about right now. Do you respawn when you die? That's how I'm responding to that. How big is the map? You have to wait. You'll have to see. I mean, everybody, do you have to drink water? No. That is not a gameplay mechanic. There isn't a... Are dire drakes a thing? No. The main character in this DLC looks awesome. Glad you like him. You know what? We'll put him up again. I'm just going to push the controller away. I want to hit buttons. Let's see. Next week is going to be focusing, I believe, more on combat. Specifically, also some items related to it. And finding them. Let's see. People are talking to us on Mixer? Yes. I see that popping through. Will you be able to leave the region? No comment. Can you pet Caragors yet? You can't ride them this time. Time to release? Same animations. No, different animations. What skills do Baranor have? Well, you're going to have to see some of those coming up. But there's a bunch of them that are Baranor only.
Yep.
Is it replayable? Very much so. Very much so. Baranor is allergic to cats. That's a good argument, Sir Spiffy.
I think it's also worth saying that Baranor does have a few familiar abilities. It's not, you're not, just because you don't have Talion's wraith abilities and so forth, that doesn't mean that everything is completely different, but he does have a lot of unique skills that are very cool.
Indeed. Can we feed orcs to the wereworms? Gonna have to say that. Can you see YouTube chat? I don't know, chat. Can I see you? Let's see. Looking for any more questions?
I mean, the wereworms have to eat something. They do like
sure do.
grog.
Actually, that is true.
That is
yeah.
a really important point, that if grog spills on the ground, bad things happen.
Right.
And those are just the small wereworms. There is a fabled mother of all wereworms that is gigantic, that has attracted hunters to the region.
Right. So if we were to spill some grog accidentally, Not today though. Not in this stream.
You're probably okay there, but
Oh man, I'm adding the tense.
So, I did see scrolling by somebody asked, "Can we see the sword?" I mean, you already did sort of pull it out when you showed the shield. But
I mean, well, what's nice about this too is stuff that's been shown on the cover art, like that we already put out. I feel very comfortable showing the in-game version of.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a good-looking one. I really like the extra angle to it.
Yeah.
A fun Numenorian piece.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Spill the grog, Jared. No. Okay, so I think we've given you guys...
romance the dwarf. Romancing the dwarf.
Let's see.
I mean, I guess who are we to set limits?
Will you be releasing a cosplay guide for Baranor? We have talked about that. I would like to do that. I think that's a yes on that regard. Hi, Kelly.
What happened to Eltariel? This occurs kind of around the same time.
And kind of running...
Like in that same kind of period, like, you know, post-creation of the Flaming Eye, Talion and Eltariel are fighting the Nazgul and becoming buddies with some interesting orcs.
Someone asked for dagger as well, so I had to remember how to pop it out not in combat. Yeah. Let's see. People are asking, we release May 8th is when this comes out, so about a month from now. How goes the destruction of Mordor? Desolation, but fine. So I'll leave it at here so you guys can enjoy the blade and just his leg. So I think that's pretty good for the sneak and tease. We're going to have some more actual gameplay. Actually, this is actual game. We're going to have more fighting gameplay so that you guys who are wondering how the fights look and that kind of thing, we'll slowly build that up. So next week, we're going to introduce you guys a little bit more to how treasure works when you're finding Numenorian artifacts. Mm-hmm. We're also introduced to how that affects and changes your play when you're playing. And let's see. Glad people are excited about some of the cosplay. Glad to see that. Cool.
I do see repeatedly the question about does he have a bow, which I don't think we're answering today, but it would be sad to think of having no way to interact with people at range.
Shooting grog barrels.
That would be crazy to go into Mordor and not have a ranged
Seems
ability.
like you'd be under-equipped.
One does not simply walk into Mordor without some ranged item.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very pretty water right now. Sorry, I'm admiring the game. Let me go back to looking at what you guys care about. People. Look, people. So, with that, I think that's pretty good.